every single agent in Empower Life Group, you guys are in a place of having everything that you need. You have it in abundance. You have high sales training, you have script, you have video calls, you have the opportunity to share calls, get feedback. Every single tool that I gave Vic is every single tool Dana has, and it's every single tool that I still have. Everything Vic plugged into, every single person on this call has access to. Okay, so I want everyone to know that you are in the right place in the industry. Nowhere else in life insurance ever. I've been at 6 IMOs. You don't find this anywhere.
We do have a recording that we're going to play of one of Vic's sales because even though we said that Vic is living in abundance, we also want to hear Vic's sales process. And would you say the call that you sent me is pretty typical of what you do on most of your calls? If you
I
can
mean,
recall.
there's differences and so forth. People open up at different points of the call. This one in particular, the underwriting, but it's still the script, right? It's still the process. It's still the same journey. You're bringing them from a closed clam and opening them up a little bit as we go along, and by the time we get into the quotes, everything else is already set.
I like that analogy, a closed clam. That's a good one because that is what they are, right? They're like, you aren't getting anything from me.
That is a good one.
All right. Let's go.
So yes, Debbie, this is just that getting back to you on
Kind of quiet. Sounds distant.
Is it quiet for everyone else? Let me just play it for like another 10 seconds and then I'll see if there's a different way. Actually, let me try and download it and maybe that'll help. Let's see.
I was gonna say, do you ever do like share audio on mono?
Hold on, let me try this. Tell me if it's any better.
regards to the final expense quote you had requested on Facebook.
Yeah, it sounds better.
Okay, yeah, I just had to download it. Okay, let me rewind it because even the first 3 seconds, there was something in there that Vic did. Did anybody catch it? What did Vic do in the first 3 seconds that I love?
Yes, Debbie, this is just that getting back to you on a recorded line. Regards to the final expense quote.
Hold on, I don't even know where that's
Facebook,
playing from.
looks like
1
Debbie,
second.
you put down
Romero, can you mute?
favorite hobby. Is that correct? Correct. Was this policy just for yourself or for a loved one? Well, for me.
I don't even know where that's playing.
Okay, and were you mostly concerned with kind of the final expenses, or were you looking for a little extra for the
Try
family?
like Command Tab or
The
something.
final expense.
Find a window.
Oh,
So
I found it. Okay, I'm so sorry, you guys.
That's Friday. We forgive you.
It's been a crazy 36 hours, let me just say. Okay, so Vic came in with a very familiar tone and words. It's just Vic calling. How many people think that saying it's just Mason calling, it's just Steve calling is stupid? No one's going to say that in front of me. You can think it though. But when we say just, it doesn't lower our status. It creates familiarity. Do I know this person? Vic sounded like my neighbor, right? It's just Vic calling. So don't take away like the importance of that. Vic, do you say that on every call?
Pretty much. I picked that up from you and Jeremy Miner and been using that for a long time.
Well, good. Keep doing it because I like that. My computer is awful. Okay, here we go. We're going to start from the top and keep going.
yes, Debbie, this is just that getting back to you on a recorded line. Regards to the final expense quote you had requested on Facebook, looks like Eddie, you put down pool as your favorite hobby. Is that correct? Correct.
Good. Now, not every lead that you get is going to have favorite hobby. or a code word or beneficiary name, but everybody should at least have their state. We should at least have something. What have been hearing in calls that have been sent over to me, people are stopping at calling about the final expense price quote you requested, period. And the next part is actually really important. It's either you're going to verify something that they put on the form, or you're going to say, and I was just calling to see, how I can help or answer any questions that you had. Like, you have to continue. You have to continue to say something, because if you just stop, and I would say probably 50% of the calls that I've listened to that have been sent to me are, I was just calling about your request on Facebook for, life insurance, period. So you do want to continue, and you do want to try to finish that sentence. So really important.
Was this policy just for yourself or for a loved one? For me. Okay, and were you mostly concerned, Eddie, with just kind of the final expenses, or were you looking for a little extra for the family?
The final expense.
Okay, so do you have any other coverage in place now, Eddie, or nothing yet?
Nothing.
Okay, so kind of back up, let you know what we do, how we help families. It's really simple. I'm a broker. So what that means, Eddie, is I'm going to be able to let you know all of the options that you might qualify for. Everything is really kind of just based on your age and your health, and we do get to shop all of the 26 different carriers to ensure you the best rates. More importantly, we're going to be able to get you all the answers over the phone. Would that help you?
Yes.
Okay, Eddie, what is your date of birth so we can verify your age?
05/29/1959.
All right. Someone tell me your thoughts on Vic's tone.
Soothing.
Oh, you said soothing. I'm sorry. I thought you said two things. You said
No.
soothing.
Yes.
Yes, very soothing. Let me look at the chat. Yeah, very professional, very calm. Yeah, clean, clear, in control. Anything else? Vic, what do you think of your own tone?
I think it's it's very like Ashley would say, is always be cool as a cucumber, right? So she taught me like, okay, you want to come in very even, and then when they throw these objections at you in the beginning, you want to keep your tone. You don't want to be changed up or down. You want to keep in the beginning of the call, especially, you want to keep very strong and stable.
Yep. To me, it sounds like you've done this a bazillion times. It's very natural. I hear no hesitation in your voice, no like trying to find your place, right? So one thing that's really important for everybody on this call is it does not matter the script that you use, right? Because for people that are using the Empower script, it's going to be a different order, a slightly different flow. What I'm teaching here is not the script. I'm teaching higher level sales skills. Okay. And the higher level sales skills is nothing with the script. It is, here's what I hear a lot. Okay. And let's see. We didn't hear any of that. No. Okay. All right. So let's see. It's so smooth. He knows exactly where he's taking this person, and the prospect has no idea where they're going. This is what we're doing. I've done it a million times. I don't have to look to see where I'm at. I don't have to find my place. This is rinse and repeat. I've got this. So very impressed so far.
Okay, and on a good day, what would you say your height and weight would be?
My height would be about 5'6", 5'7". My weight is anywhere from say 195 to maybe 201.
Yeah, and we don't have to be super exact either. As long as we're close to what they got on doctor records. So you're in Tennessee, right? state that you're in?
Correct.
Okay, any smoking or nicotine products at all?
No.
Okay, so, some of the carriers obviously going to work with certain types of payments and others do not. Do you use a regular checking account, with routing number and account number, or do you have a direct express card from the federal government?
I bank with Region.
Okay. Now, Eddie, do you have any health concerns, mild or major, in the way of diabetes?
Yes. As of now, in, I want to say, it was November of 18. I had open heart surgery.
Okay. Did they get stents and that type of thing?
Yes, yes.
Must have been so scary.
Oh, it wasn't the scariness, it was the pain, man.
Whew. Yeah.
I wouldn't wish that on my enemies.
Man.
I also, I have diabetes, high blood pressure, and COPD.
Okay, so with COPD, do you use any oxygen at all?
No, I have it's like an inhaler. It's a disc.
Yeah,
and I
I'm
use
familiar with it.
Yeah, I uses it every 12 hours. I did have an inhaler, but like I was telling Doc when I saw her the other day, that since he put me on the disc, I haven't had to use that inhaler since.
That's awesome. Now, on the diabetes, do you have any like gabapentin or neuropathy or anything like that?
No, I haven't got. I've been told about it. My brother, it just started with him, but I was told that I will. The neuropathy.
Okay. Have you ever been told you had neuropathy though?
No.
Okay. And you never took gabapentin, right?
Gabapentin, not familiar with it.
Okay, that's good. Do you use any insulin at all?
No insulin. I take pills.
Glipizide, metformin, that type of thing.
I got the metformin, the Jordan. I know it's three of them that my former caregiver had me taking three different
Gotcha. Well, metformin, Guardians I'm familiar with. Have your diabetes ever been considered like not in control in the last 10 years?
well, that's what it was. It was out of whack. He had me on all this medicine. But now my new doctor is winging me off because I really don't get a high glucose level. I haven't in a while. I was taking 2 tablets of metformin, but now I only take 1. And we're gonna see if I can get rid of the Jordans. Let's see, I take the Jordans. Oh, and I also take is you familiar with the Glimmer Pride?
I'm going to fast forward through this a little bit. But in regards to asking the underwriting questions, when we were talking about some of the bad things that happened, what did Vic do that kind of humanized that part of the conversation?
Showed empathy for what he went through with his heart surgery.
Good. That's exactly right. Vic, do you normally do stuff like that? Engage with their answers to their health questions
Yeah,
Is something?
yeah, I always did to some level, but Ashley was reviewing a call on Vicky, and I was on that training call,
Mhm.
and Vicky emphasized, she was doing a lot of that, and Ashley commented on that, and I just took that and I just kind of took that to a new level after that into my own calls.
Good. Yeah. So when we're in underwriting, no matter what part of the script that we're in, that's also a moment to learn more about someone, how something makes them feel, how long have they been going through that. Kyle wrote in the chat, yeah, that must have been scary. And he's like, scary, it was painful. But if Vic didn't say that, we probably would have never gotten that part out of him. I wouldn't want to wish that, on anybody. I might have taken it a little further and just said, yeah, like stuff like that, probably just makes you think you just don't know if you're going to come out of it, right? I mean, so blessed to be able to have this second chance and be able to put this protection in place for your family. Um, like doubling down on the things that were scary and the things that were painful as part of the motivational factor to create urgency to make a change. That can be done in underwriting too. Ashley, any thoughts?
No, 1,000%. It's always just important to not sound bullet pointed because when you sound bullet pointed, I mean, you can gain so much trust in underwriting, especially when you show empathy. A lot of people, the reason a lot of the seniors we hit underwriting, you're like, well, they never told us about these 5 medications. It's because people don't feel good about being sick. Like we have to remember there's a human on the other side of the phone too, right? Like no one wants to admit that they have COPD because they smoke their whole life and they're embarrassed about it. So if we can be like, sometimes even saying little quips like, yeah, I got diabetes. Oh, okay, you got a little bit of diabetes. That's not a problem. Most of the families I help have diabetes. Does your doctor have you on like insulin, metformin? Like you want to make it like they're in a safe place. And you do that by showing empathy and having a conversation. Like when people tell me they have a pacemaker, I lean in and I'm like, oh my gosh, can you feel that? Like what's that like? Like they have something in their
Mm,
chest implanted controlling their heart rhythm.
mhm.
And they'll answer, they'll be like, oh my gosh, no, I don't feel it, or I feel it, or it was weird, or and let them talk about those things. It'll go far in your calls.
In regards to the diabetes, I like to say, oh, that's just a little bit of sugar. What was your
Oh, that's
favorite
cute.
sugar
I'm
that
gonna
you
take
ate?
that. Oh, that's just a little bit of sugar.
Just a little bit of
Fantastic.
sugar. What was the sugar? What was your favorite sugar that got you there?
Oh, I love that. I'm taking it.
Yeah. So
Hashtag
anything that
little
you
bit of
can do,
sugar.
yeah, to humanize the conversation and make them feel good about their pain, right, is a way that we can get them to relax, right? Because people buy in a relaxed state, not an anxious state. So just getting them to relax and enjoy the process. Tori, when you said when people give you their height and weight, I always say, okay, perfect, and move on. Oh, so like you don't want to draw attention to, that's what you're saying, their height and weight. Yeah.
Yeah, my goal is just to kind of make them feel good no matter where they're at, because a lot of people are obviously not wanting to give that number. So I just make it no big deal, like, okay, perfect, and move on. Kind of hopefully raise their self-confidence a little.
Good. All right. Let me see if I can fast forward a little through some of this.
Gotcha. Well, it's a big difference in cost, right?
Oh, I really
Might
want
want to rewind a little bit
I
from
am.
there.
I'm
That's
trying to find my place. Thanks.
So everyone I work with is on a fixed income.
You're good there. He just cleared for everyone to know. He just sent his digital card and said, everyone, it's important you know who I am.
That's where I'm at now.
Okay. So
yeah.
I'm sending you a text message right now with my digital business card. Okay. It's got my name, got my photo, it's got all my contact information, website, and everything like that. But really what's important is it's got my national producer number, my government lookup number. So that means you're going to be able to see that I'm in great standing with the federal government, state insurance board, great rating with the Better Business Bureau. Now, if you need anything else from me, like my state license or anything like that, just let me know and I'll certainly get it to you. Okay. So everyone I work with is on a fixed income. Really important. that we find something, not just that you qualify for, but a good policy that's going to be comfortable and affordable for you every month, right?
Right.
Programs, they're sorted in different price bands. So all I really kind of need you to do is let me know where you feel comfortable to maybe start shopping in, okay? Would you say between 100 and 120 is affordable for you, or is that maybe a bit too high?
Yeah, that's a real steep.
I gotcha. That's fine. And we came down to like the 80 to 100 range. Does that help, or is it still?
Oh, yeah, no. I can balance. I can really balance up to it'll be a struggle, but I really could think I can afford the 100.
Okay, that's fair enough. So how much coverage were you hoping to get?
I really wanted like a minimum of 12.
Okay. And kind of fill me in, like, what were your thoughts, your concerns that brought you to that number? What are you hoping for? Are you looking for a full burial with viewing, or?
I really don't want to be buried.
Okay, so you want a cremation.
That's my thought. That's what me and my wife are, to put it not to be dating on now. She don't want to do.
Gotcha. Well, it's a big difference in cost, right?
Exactly.
Have you kind of looked into what a cremation is costing folks in the area?
I could get a simple cremation here for maybe about 5. Anywhere from 5 to 7.
That's really cheap. So we are seeing it on the very low end. It could be about 700. With inflation, we don't know how long that's gonna keep. But on average, the average cost is right about $1,900 for a direct cremation.
For the regular?
Yeah, for a simple cremation. Yeah.
I need to be there.
No, did you mean like 7,000?
Huh?
Did you mean like 7,000?
Yeah.
No. See, maybe what you're thinking about is not a simple cremation, but a cremation with a viewing.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So here's what happens when you get a full cremation with viewing. The problem is they got to view the body. In order to view the body, you got to still embalm the body. You still got to pay for the dressing and the casketing, the viewing, the visiting, the funeral service hours, the transfer fee, and the casket fee, right? So, you get
you might as well bury him then.
That's what I'm saying. So, the average cost of a full cremation is right about $6,000, and a traditional burial is right about $8,000. So it's only like $2,000 more, but if you're going to do like a direct cremation, like a simple cremation, you should be able to get it, right about $2,000 on average, or a little bit under.
Okay, because that's what I want. I'm gone. I mean, they got the remembrance of me. I don't.
And listen, there's a lot of beautiful ways that you can do that. I mean, my mom, she loved the water. We had a nice celebration of life right on the lake with her ashes. At the end of the day, her wishes were to be like tossed into the lake. I've had people talk about they had a celebration of life at their church. Another lady told me she wants to have it at her yacht club that she was at for the last 20 years. So there's all kinds of ways that you can have a beautiful, and very intimate service, a celebration of life with your ashes when you do that people do all the time.
I kid you not. You and your mother are on the same boat.
All right, let's pause here for a moment. That was a lot of good stuff. So in the chat, we wrote, education is not always term versus whole life. which is true because we gave this person a big aha moment through educating them on something different. How many people you don't have to show your hands, but I just want you to internalize how many people would be able to very comfortably have that type of conversation with someone, help them really understand how much things are going to cost, and then give like a detailed description of what they would have to do in order to get to that 7,000 or 6,000 that the prospect originally thought it was going to be. Naomi, did you have a question, or are you just raising your hand?
I have actually, it's probably a bit too much, but I actually have a lot of what they call the general price list for certain areas here. And I'm a mortician, so I have some bit of an idea, but it wouldn't have came off as good as Vic's though.
Vix came off as somebody who is advising a friend, not
Right.
as a oh, is that
Sorry,
Ashley sharing?
yeah,
Oh,
when
funeralocity.
you're done,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna highlight to everyone where they can find that.
What's really cool too is that we're still hearing the same tone in Vic's voice that we did when he introduced himself. Just very cool, very calm, very matter of fact, very comfortable. And now he's using the lingo that's going to help make people feel good about their choices. So go ahead, Ashley.
And he's the trusted advisor. Like he knows he's not skipping a beat. He's not like what Dana just said earlier, like, let me, like what, you know where you're going with it. And that's where practice and repetition comes in. But if anyone's wondering, like, well, how do I know all the things that are covered and I can talk fluidly and educate? When you're on Funeralocity, when you click on a state, if y'all just do these little drop down boxes, it tells you, like right here, basic service, transfer, the embalming, dressing, viewing, funeral home. You can list these things off and you have the average costs mapped out. Just if you weren't aware that that's there, that's how you can know that information. Okay.
And just to add, that's exactly what I did. Is
Oh,
I
I know
just
you did. That's why I wanted to show everyone.
Mm.
Yeah. This is how you sound like a professional. That's beautiful. Okay. Continue.
See, I live in Memphis, but I was born and raised in New Orleans. Mm. And that's what I want. I want to be cremated, and I want my ashes to be spread out in Lake Pontchartrain and just let me go.
That sounds beautiful.
That's just what I want. When you told me about your mama, I said, yeah, that's just what I told my wife.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if we wanted to do like, a direct cremation, it would run you about $2,000, let's say $3,000 on a high end. You have a little bit of money for celebration of life and some food and different things they might have. If we were able to get you a policy that would cover, like $5,000 worth of coverage, that would literally cover everything that you needed. And anything above that, that would be the extra I love you leftover money that you're looking for. Does that kind of make sense?
What did Vic just do there? Vic, what did you just do there?
Summarize. Ashley pounded this into my head. This was actually my aha moment when I was going through the script with her, is this exact section, that the whole point of the entire page is to summarize everything back and get a complete agreement. Let them know that they've been heard, and have the okay to go to the next section.
That is correct, 100% correct. However, you also did something that you didn't even realize that you did because you didn't just tell me that you did it. What else did Vic do? Something I talk about a lot. Okay, and if
Are you referring to the spend down, Dana, on the fact of letting him know about what he specifically needs and extra? Because he said earlier he wanted 12,000, so you're setting up the call for him to agree with you that he doesn't need 12,000.
And yes, 1,000,000% right on the nose. How many people have heard me say, just because someone, what they want is not necessarily what they need. And as the expert, we have to come in and create better realistic expectations in the event what they want is too expensive or unaffordable. We need to be able to talk them down or talk them off the ledge. Now, this one, it's much more narrow, but if you had someone that's like, I really want 50,000, and I think it was Vicky, correct me if I'm wrong, Vicky, but I think you had said you had someone who wanted 50,000 and she ended up getting, 9,000. And
No, it was a lady who wanted $200,000 term policy.
what did she end up getting?
She ended up getting 25,000 whole life.
Perfect. So same exact thing. I would say 99% of the time, maybe that's a little high, but let's just call it 99% of the time. What people are asking for is unrealistic to what they can afford. And it's probably not even what they need. So what other life insurance agent is going to go from 12,000 to 5,000? That's just going to affect their what?
Commission.
Commission, pay.
Their ROI,
It's going
the
to affect
commission.
their commission. And if that's how we think, oh, we want 12,000, great. Not only am I going to sell him 12,000, but I'm going to tell him he needs 15,000. Because then that's going to be a higher policy for me. And I'm going to talk about inflation and about how 12,000 isn't enough. Right? That's commission breath. That's thinking about what's in it for me. What Vic did was set the right expectations. To be honest, you might not even need more than 5. And anything above that is just I love you money. What does that do
And
for respect?
that basically tells everybody, hey, look, this guy is actually looking out for me without saying it directly. It's like, wow, okay. So I only need that much, really? So it's a lot more powerful than trying to say it.
So yes, Vic, you did summarize, but what you actually did was far more powerful.
I could add to that is just part of Ashley's script, always been from the beginning. That's always been like the main point of that thing. However, for a little while, I had a little bit of a problem when I had somebody that said, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for a cremation, but I want 25,000," and then I would be like, "Well, what brought you to that now?" Like I had the wrong approach to it, and I got straightened out with it to remain cool and compassionate to that, and that changed tremendously, and that certainly increased my close rate.
And it'll probably increase your persistency too. Not just the amount of business you close, but the amount that sticks because you're not, uh, Ashley's term, you're not ramming policies down people's throats. You're helping put them in a better position into what they can comfortably afford because we need them to be able to afford it for the long term, right? A $300 commission that lasts is better than an $800 commission that you have to pay back.
Is that correct? No. Yeah,
Yes.
understanding the price of that 10 or 12,000 would do really good. It'll do her really good.
So, um, let me ask you this, God forbid, something was to happen, unexpectedly, would your wife be the person that would have to go down to the funeral home and set up the ashes, the urn, and take care of all your final wishes?
Oh, let's see. I think she'll be a little too distraught. But I think for the business wise on that end, she would be okay because she would have our daughter. Our daughter would for all arrangements or any business that need to be done. Our daughter would be up on that.
Gotcha. And, God forbid something was to happen, and you didn't have something in place.
Okay, before we move on, thank you, Ashley, for saying that. So Vic, I think you could have been a little stronger there. My wife would be distraught. Distraught? I mean, what would that do for her if you were, I would have gone a little bit maybe deeper there
Mhm.
instead of the gotcha, 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 right? And part of who you're on the phone with is you have someone right now that's feeling motivated to change their situation. This is how you double down on that. Really start creating that pain and painting that picture, and then insert. So she's already going to be distraught after he gives you more information. Sounds like she's already going to be distraught losing her life partner, right? Losing the person she's done life with for how long have you been married? 2, 3 decades. Can you
Gotcha.
imagine without knowing how to pay for it,
Mhm.
what extra added stress that would bring to her? Bridge to consequence.
Gotcha.
Anyone have questions or thoughts on that? Don't want to miss any clues. Ashley, when you wrote down distraught, what would you have said?
Say that. Yeah, I didn't hear your question again. What would I what?
What would you have said when you heard the word distraught?
Oh, actually, 100% I would have done what Vic did. When I say write down the word distraught, it's because I'm not done with discovery and I'm gonna bring it back up and like surmise it. So like I'm still digging, but I do like what you said on just like repeating it right then and then maybe getting some more emotion out. But there are like more questions to follow up. But yeah, again, it's the onion layers. Like once you kind of get like your core of like where I'm going and the questions I'm going to ask, you can ask more questions on top of it to keep it going deeper.
Mhm. Yeah, I like to see how deep I can get it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Pay, right? Pay for all this. Would your wife and your daughter be able to pay to cover all these expenses?
No, no.
Right? Do you guys talk about this at all? Like, I mean, do you have like a plan B? What would that look like if you didn't have something in place?
Oh, I don't. It would be hard. I think it'll get done.
Right.
It'll get done. But it would cause for my family to get involved because we ain't too long, a couple of years ago, lost 2 brothers, and neither one of them was insured, and we wind up everybody get together and we come up with it.
Yeah.
Variable. Yeah. So
I gotcha.
it is done, but I don't really want it to be that way, you know?
Right.
I really rather for my wife and them to be able to do that on their own, and like you said, have a few dollars, for left for herself. I'm not too much worried about it after I'm gone because she would get my pension, so she would be all right for our finance. Yeah.
Gotcha. And how would it make you feel if you had like a good $10,000 policy in place to kind of cover all those expenses and your family didn't have to come together and, put together funds and
That's what I'm looking for now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I'm going to be doing my best for you here. I'm going to make sure that we find something really good for you that'll protect your family. Okay, so your family doesn't have to, your wife and your daughter doesn't have to go to the family. They don't have to pull together. They don't have to, it's a lot emotional to go through this in the first place. And as a good father, it sounds like you want to make sure, as a husband, as a father, that nobody is left having to deal with your problems, right?
Exactly. Right.
Well, like I said, I'm going to do my best for you here. What we're going to be looking at is hope.
What did Vic do there? What did he try to do there? He did a really good job. He did, Kyle, he did a frame. So from this week's training, somebody tell me what a frame is, how we try to frame people. What does that mean?
You paint a picture.
Paint a picture and keep going.
And you basically try to mentally put them in a state, emotional state, I guess, is the goal here. Um, by kind of trying to help them visualize what really would that look like.
So a frame is helping, what a frame is turning somebody into the person as a father, as a husband that takes action to protect their family. So when we start a call, they are getting a price, right? Their current frame is price shopping. What we are trying to do is deframe that by breaking down all the walls, peeling the onions, finding pain, and then we are reframing into from somebody that is price shopping for 12,000 into somebody who as a father, as a husband, that this person is now taking action to protect their family from not having to go through what has already happened, where people had to come out of pocket and pay for it, that as the protector and leader of the household, we take these action steps. We are the type of person, he's the type of person that takes action and puts protection in place for his wife and his daughter. So that's where we're taking him. And that's what Vic was like 80%, 90% there. He framed him into the type of person that protects their family. Right? Does that make sense? Good.
Full life coverage. Just let me know if this is exactly the type of insurance that you're looking for.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Full life. I think that term life. I really think term life is a scam. I'm just gonna call it like I think it is.
You know, the problem is not that it's a scam. It's a good product for what it's supposed to be for, right? The problem is it's misused. It's marketed to people who are looking for the most coverage for the least amount of money, but it's not really meant for permanent issues. It's meant for temporary issues. It's meant for the young mother whose breadwinner, if he passes away, she's going to be left with a mortgage, and how does she, take care of her child? And this mortgage and the child is going to grow, the mortgage is going to go away. And if you outlive that policy, it's okay, but you need the extra coverage now, right? But it's not meant for permanent issues. It's not meant for burials. And unfortunately, too many people market it for permanent issues, and it's not what it's meant for. Go ahead.
With me right now, I'll be 66 on the 29th of this month. I think term life for me, my ideal term life for me would be cool, because at 80 or 85, I would be off it. With my health condition, I really don't see me getting that far.
No, and it's different when you get older too, because they don't.
Did you guys just hear that? What did you just hear? First, he said term is a scam, and then he just said
Terms for him because he's not gonna make it that long. So he would rather have something, that doesn't last as long.
right. So, okay, so this is really important. So when he said, I think term is a scam, I think it might have been more appropriate to be like, oh, tell me why you think that. Just let him tell you before we jump in and try. Because I know in education we want to stay neutral, right? Like we don't want to just push one product. Like we want to be able to just educate and let them decide. But if someone already comes in and says term's a scam, I want to know, why do you feel that way? What has you say that term is a scam? Because what just happened is you just sold them on term.
Yeah, I got to get better at those questions. I know that that's something that I'm working on a little bit. And I know I kind of got thrown off a little bit with this part of the education because it didn't go the way it normally goes. So I know I was off a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Here's also just something that's interesting that I just want to throw out there. The reason that I personally like to do this type of education before the emotion part, I'm sorry, the funerosity part, is because this is more like logic based and the funeral part is more like emotion based. And I want to get them into a buying mood. And you had them in a buying mood, right? And now we're in like this logic piece. And I feel like the emotional tension is starting to come down. Do you feel that in the call? So like I'm picturing, if I'm looking at a graph, I'm starting here and my whole goal is to get him to like the emotional tension where he's like, yes, I'm ready to make a change. And that's when we move forward with offering him, the coverage amounts. But when we get him up to like this emotional tension and then we bring him down to logic again, then we got to bring him back up. And so if you're going to do it this way, you have to make sure that you take it smooth and a little quicker so you can keep him in that emotional tension so you don't lose him.
They don't run straight to 80. What they do is they do like 10-year bands. And they go up in premium every 2 to 3 years. And then after 10 years, you have to renew it. And you have to qualify health-wise each time. You don't qualify, you don't necessarily, you're not going to be able to renew it. And then in the very best situation, right? When you turn 80, it goes away, right? So what happens then to all the premiums that you paid into the policy all these years, right? It's gone.
It's gone.
That's it.
And that's my biggest gripe with it, See, my dad had a pilot, and his was a term life, and he didn't know. And he had that year, that pilot for multiple decades. When he turned 80, it was just gone.
Yep. That's it.
All that money was gone.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
And what did that do for you personally? What did that do for the family when we realized that insurance was gone? Double down, right? Double down on that. Because now I'm like, we're out of emotion. I got to get back to, we're in logic. I got to get back to emotion. So when he tells you it was gone, and what did that do for the family? What type of impact did that have? So instead of being able to focus on grieving your father, the person that raised you, the man of the household, we had to put our focus where? Where's the money coming from? Right? So does that make sense, Vic?
oh yes, very, very much. This is the kind of thing that I'm working towards, these kinds of questions. It's taken a while to get kind of where I want to be with that, but each day it's a little bit better.
Good.
Yes, sir. So I have great news for you, Eddie. Okay. It does look like you should qualify for some of the best options statewide. Okay, and it's with a company called Foresters. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Great company, been in business since 1874. Out of Buffalo, New York, they're A-rated, and they have not missed a payment in like 150 years. Okay,
Okay, I want to talk about this real quick. I'm sorry, I keep stopping. Too many people don't even talk about the company that they're representing. Some of them don't even say the name of the company. They just give the coverage amount and the price. And other people give quotes by listing all the companies. I have Transamerica, I have Mutual of Omaha, I have Foresters. We're going to give you the cheapest one. What I love that Vic is doing is, as the expert, he's choosing the company and he's justifying it. And we are price comparing one company, right? We're not saying, well, we have Mutual of Omaha for 72. We have this, we have for 71. Like, we have to be confident in the company that we're going to choose, and we're going to say why. And look at that reaction. Woo! Right? That was so good, Vic, what you're doing right there. Please keep doing it. Pick the company.
Just the script. That's the script. That's the training. That's what it is.
Yep. But people skip things because they don't understand the value and the importance of it. So explaining it is why we're here, right? Why we're here, so we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
understand the why and not just the what.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am makes me feel like I'm older than I am.
I'm sorry.
Ma'am.
More importantly, Eddie, after this application, you should qualify for first date coverage. What that means is no wait period, right? If you ever heard of a 2-year wait period or anything like that.
Most are.
Yep. Well, with this, from the date that your first payment is made, you will be 100% covered for the whole amount, and it's going to be tax-free. Now, I want you to grab a pen. Okay, so you can write some things down. We're going to go through some programs that are available to you.
Okay. Let me just give me a sheet of the paper out my front.
One thing I think you could have done, it's not going to make or break the sale, but he gave you a clue in there. Does anyone know what the clue is?
Was it about the 2-year wait?
What did he say?
He said most of them are.
How does he know that?
He's probably
shopping.
been shopping and talking to people, and that's what he's been getting. And that's the normal in his head.
Yep. So one of the things that I stress tremendous value in is knowing where someone's been, right? How long have you been looking? What have you found? What's kind of stopped you from putting something in place? When he gives this clue about most are, how is it that you knew that? Right? And I'm going to try and extract some stuff here because he just gave a clue that he's been shopping and hasn't done anything. So even though we already know, spoiler alert, this is a sale, now I know he's been shopping and has not taken action. Why? Right? So that's a clue for me that we got lucky that his previous price shopping didn't come back up to bite us, but it's also something that you missed. Right?
I would say mostly everybody says that about the 2-year wait period. I think mostly everybody has been shopping. I just assume that.
So this is Vic understanding where someone has been and what stopped them from putting something in place so that you don't make that same mistake and really understand why. That could help increase your conversion rate a little.
Gotcha.
Right? So you may be missing some clues, and by going into the blind on what someone's previous experience has been and what stopped them from putting it in place, because that'll help me understand how to avoid that based on what stopped them in the past.
Makes sense.
Fully approved. Okay. Now I want to highlight, Eddie, we don't pay for anything today. The goal is to see if we can get fully approved. The start date, the actual pay date, we can move that out to a day that's comfortable for you. Most families actually lining up with Social Security and disability pay days. Okay.
Yes,
now,
sir.
this
Yes, sir.
first program here, okay, this is their starter program, okay? What this will do, it's going to give you $7,500 worth of coverage. It's going to cover your cremation. It's going to cover your celebration of life, so you can go down to the lake in New Orleans.
Good.
And it's going to leave a couple dollars left over, not a ton of money, but it's a very affordable option. It's $70.35 a month. $70.35 for $7,500 worth of coverage. Okay. This next option, Eddie, this is their most popular option. Okay. This is going to give you a full $10,000 coverage. It's really going to do everything that you need. And it's only going to be $92.75. So for $10,000 worth of coverage, it's $92.75. Now this next option here, it's going to give you full $12,000. Kind of asked for, but I don't know if that's more coverage than you need. And I do want to be mindful of your budget. You said $100 was kind of pushing it for you, and this one's going to be at $110.67. So I'm not sure I would recommend it.
No, sir. I'll pass on that one.
Yeah. So I mean, the biggest challenge, like I said, is
But from talking to you, and you telling me, I had it all wrong. I was looking at the wrong thing. If I could get that done, well, for like we say, the 3,000, the 10,000 alone is going to be more than sufficient.
I believe so. Absolutely. So, $10,000 would be $92.75. Okay. Would that be comfortable and affordable for you every month?
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, the biggest challenge is getting the approval. So we'll do a quick application with Foresters.
Good. So Vic, Ashley, and correct me if I'm wrong, Vic, you painted the picture only on the first option.
Well, and you get it
We
a
did
little inverse there too.
What do you
I
mean?
did a little. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Finish what
Vic.
you said, Ash. I'm just going to say I did a little bit in the second one, but I could certainly have done a much better job. I usually do.
I think you
Um,
knew he was a buyer.
yeah, I did, but doesn't mean that I should skip steps.
Correct.
I normally do a better job painting on every one. I mean, the last one I usually do the way I did here, but the middle one I could have did a better job.
So let me ask you this, Vic, just to kind of help everyone on the call understand, knowing the pain and discovery, how would you go back and say starter, most common, wouldn't recommend? Like, how does that sound now?
Say, listen, well, everybody's different, right? I don't
Well, for
remember
this
his.
guy, well, yeah, just for this guy, kind of,
Okay, let me see if I remember his things. Okay, so this starter program here, okay, well, this first option here is their starter program. Okay, and what this is going to do, this is going to actually cover everything you need. I mean, it's going to cover your cremation that you're looking for, this celebration of life, everything that's going to be needed for that. And it might leave a couple dollars left over, and it's meant to be an affordable option at 72, whatever it was.
better. Yeah.
Um, now, now, Eddie, this next option here is actually the most popular option. Okay, and this is going to do everything that you're really looking for. It's going to cover the cremation. It's going to cover the celebration of life, the travel, the food, everything you need for that. And it's going to give you a decent amount of money left over, extra I love you money. And this option is going to be, X amount of dollars. And then the last one, I did that one right the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah. You don't really paint a picture with the last one because we take it away to keep sales resistance low, but it definitely just to highlight to everyone, you bring back all your notes in pain. So, like, what was that one keyword I typed up earlier because I wasn't taking footnotes?
Distraught,
Distraught.
distraught.
Rot.
I
And
It's
would
I,
gonna
I got
be
to learn to pick
rough.
up on that a little better.
Yeah, I would have used it again. I would have said, hey, this first option, starter program designed for families on a fixed income. This one definitely will make sure that no one's distraught, things are taken care of. Your wife, your brothers, repaint the whole picture, remind them of everything where we're making them see it again. And instead of them, and we have to tell them the image first, the painting of the picture, before we say numbers, because they have a pen and paper here. And once they write a number down, they're checked out. They're now in number mode. We have to keep them in an emotional state. So if we lead with the feeling of the pain, then the number is there's no like it's a pain decision, not a numbers decision is the goal. Does that
Exactly.
make sense?
Yes, exactly. And Vic, you said something that's very common for a lot of agents to say when we're reviewing calls, which is, I normally do it. I just didn't do it on this call, right? Almost everybody that we review sales calls say that I normally do that. I just don't know why I didn't do it here. So when you become a master of your sales process, like you are at the top of your game, you don't say stuff like that anymore, right? You don't. You are methodical, you are surgical, you listen to every clue, you close every trap door that comes up, and we make sure that once we ask for money, there's nothing else they can say. And we don't expect to have 100% close rate, right? No one's going to have 100% close rate. I don't have 100% close rate. And there's going to be calls where we just feel lazy, right? Where we're just like, F it. Like, let's just give them the quotes, right? Like, we're just going to have days like that. But if the intention is to not skip the steps, to keep that sword sharp, to always do what we've always done every single time, every single call, we can then create predictable results when we do the things that we're supposed to be doing on every call. So did you get any resistance or hesitation on banking or social or anything like that, or was it pretty much smooth sailing from there?
I think it was pretty much smooth sailing.
Good. So that's where we'll stop. Anyone have any questions for Vic or anything at all about the call itself?
Great job, Vic.
Let's
Thank you,
give Vic a
Lori.
round of applause for being our brave.
I can't wait till Vic gets good.
What's that, Tim?
I can't wait till Vic gets good.
Tim, you look like you're going on a job interview. Where are you going?
Wedding.
Okay, that's acceptable. Job interview, not. Yeah, we can't wait till Vic gets good. That's great. Good job, Vic. Who else has any thoughts or questions?
Vic, helped
Yes.
you in the past like couple weeks?
Say that again. I missed it.
What do you think's helped you the most in the past couple weeks?
The pa-
Since you've seen more success.
Well, it's just the leads, right? So,
Oh.
when I was originally working with Ashley, when I first started to sell, I was doing the sales those at those times. Then I slowed down the leads because the contracts were taking so long to get through, and so that's taken a little while to really kind of get going there. And I wanted to make sure they get through, before I really just pumped it out. But then I turned the leads up really high, so that's the only difference.
Did that help? Did I answer your question, Mario?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
I have a question for you as well, Vic.
Go ahead, Vicky.
How were you able to master your cool cucumber tonality to
So
where
good,
you're
too.
so even and you're so laid back and it's just like you're talking to a friend? How did you do that?
Okay, so very first thing, when I started training with Ashley, said, learn the script. Read it, read it, read it, read it until I was blue in the face. Tonality, practice and tonality. I would say it like I'm saying it to a friend. I even color coded sentences. So I got my pauses correct and my ups and my downs. Um, but also just from being in the Medicare industry and other things, other sales, one thing I know for a fact, the huge thing is when you ask for personal things like bank account, Social Security, you don't want to jump in your voice, right? You want to sound even because if they notice anything, then it's like, oh, I never give that. All that type of stuff. So I just kind of, one of the things, Ashley's training, really helped a lot because, I learned to pace out my intro. All right. Not to come in like I was taught in the past, like sales, you got to be excited, you got to be, energetic. I had to learn to opposite that, right? In order to learn, and it's just really tonality, learning the tonality, learning the script, um, repetitive. You have to know it like the back. You have to know your script so well that you're not worried about what are you saying next, but you can concentrate on the phone about your tonality and what taking notes. What is Mildred saying to me?
Can I add?
Yes, please.
So also too, that's a good question, Vicky. A big thing is always leading from abundance and disattaching from the sale. Because remember last time we had a call with Vic, Vic had said, I had this money, I set it aside, and it was already gone. Once
Yeah.
he did that, that's when we heard the shifts. That's when he leaned into the training. That's when he tested his tone. That's when he was okay if a call failed. That's when he was able to grow. Is because when you disassociate yourself from the financial part of it, and it is so hard to do. I get it. I've been there. I was in a year and a half ago, I was in this weird 3 month period where I was all worried about the money, the ad sets, what does it look like? And when I was there, my close ratio tanked. I was horrible on the phones, but I did the same thing. I was a closer, but once my mind was like scarcity, money, finances, I got to make this sale. You can't keep that coolness on the phone and come like I do this all day long. I think really for a lot of agents, because I've been victim to it too, that that disassociation, you got to be in that abundant state, and it's hard to do.
I would say that 100% is definitely a key.
Tim, go ahead.
I'd say Dick also speaks with a very clear cadence. So every word is distinct and understandable, and it kind of just lulls you into listening to him.
To add to that, Tim, and I'm right on the money with that. I agree. And yes, your clarity is beautiful, but you also don't overtalk, right? I mean,
I had to be taught this. How many times, Ashley, did you teach me?
Vic,
You're talking
y'all,
over them.
do you hear his New York accent? Like, do you hear he's from upstate? Like, he's a little hot-headed. I'm gonna say it, Vic. You can get hot-headed, you can be stubborn, he can be combative. He likes to talk, he'll cut people off. And y'all, Vic worked really hard to get where he's at. He showed up every day, he put in the dials, he did the reps, he sent me his calls, and he just didn't give up. He
Yeah,
wasn't born like this. He didn't come to me like this. He had to work hard.
yeah, the over talking is something that many people are guilty of. They think that if I over explain it, we're just going to convince and persuade people into seeing things the way we see them, but it's
I'm
not. You just cause
I'm
people to tune out.
I'm telling you, Dana, that's where I was. If it wasn't for Ashley, I would still be doing that today. That's I'm in Medicare, right? I educate people. I tell people what to do. I mean, this is the opposite.
And I will say this, and I appreciate you, Vic. I mean, you name drop me more than I think my husband does, to be honest. Like, you're dropping my name a lot. But in all actuality, y'all, it really does come down to like every single agent in Empower Life Group, you guys are in a place of having everything that you need. You have it in abundance. You have high sales training, you have script, you have video calls, you have the opportunity to share calls, get feedback. Every single tool that I gave Vic is every single tool Dana has, and it's every single tool that I still have. Everything Vic plugged into, every single person on this call has access to. Okay, so I want everyone to know that you are in the right place in the industry. Nowhere else in life insurance ever. I've been at 6 IMOs. You don't find this anywhere. It doesn't exist. So when you guys plug into this system, if you're not taking advantage of it, I heard this one time from actually like the AO agency owner from Globe Life, believe it or not, when I was over there. And I took it away and I'll carry it with me for the rest of my life. When you're learning a skill set and when you're going to work and you're trying to do better than you did the day before, if you do not end your day where your head hits the pillow and you are just flat out exhausted, you have left talents, skill sets, and abilities that God's blessed you with, all your skill sets, you've left it on the table. Because what happens when you fall asleep every night? You wake up re energized, ready to start the day again and reuse the blessings that God gave you. So you need to come every day. You should be exhausted. If you're not making money, you should work to the bone to where when your head hits the pillow, you're out. You're tired because you've worked so hard. If you're not feeling that way, then you're not doing what it takes to get a skill set to win.